Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Chamber Chatter. I am thrilled to have my guest. You're going to be our speaker.
I will be, yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah.
Mike Nabors, we met 4 years ago. We were just chatting about that, but we're coming to you from our Emery's Rock Realty studio here at the Chamber.
Right.
Mike, welcome back.
I love the setup. This is very nice. I'm excited.
Isn't it
Yes,
exciting? And
yes.
so, okay, let's set the tone here,
Right.
because you're used to a microphone. A little bit.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
You had a really cool thing. Tell me what it was called, because I know I'm going to mess it up. But
Well, I've been a sportscaster, and I still do it. We'll talk about
Right,
pivoting,
yeah.
and I want to encourage whoever's listening that you're never too old or too young to pivot. But, I covered the New Orleans Saints for almost 18 years. And
Who
I
dat?
created, exactly, yeah. I think they're getting ready to come back a little bit. They've been down a little bit last couple of years.
yeah,
But I, had a really good relationship with Drew Brees. We wrote a book together, and the Saints and I had a good relationship. So we started a series called Errands, where we ran errands with Saints players, and they were former players, and then that kind of morphed into current players. And it was a great experience. I have so many great stories from it. But it was an idea that I had, and I mentioned it in my book, that it didn't happen right away. I had some roadblocks, but that's why I like speaking, because we all have roadblocks, right? Everything we do.
every business, every industry,
Yes.
every person has roadblocks. But I absolutely loved that. I watched the clips of running errands.
Oh,
And
you did?
Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was called because I was confusing it with comedians in cars, and it was kind of a
Right.
kind of a thing. But it
Right.
just gives you a glimpse of who they truly are. And Drew
Right.
Brees is a phenomenal human being.
And he's going in the Hall of Fame
I
now.
know. Are
which
you
is
going?
crazy. I plan on going. I do plan on going.
Yay! That was
Yeah.
one of my questions that I wanted to ask you, is if you
Yeah.
get to go and be there and kind of cheer him on, because he worked really, really hard, not only for the Saints,
Right.
but for New Orleans.
Absolutely. What he did, and I tell people this all the time, everything that he did. He won a Super Bowl, helped win that with being an MVP, and set all the records. But what really stands out about Drew Brees for me, and this is not always the case with every superstar quarterback, is he was actually more impressive when they lost a game.
Mm-hmm.
At the press conference, he was actually, he knew he was a leader, and what he said resonated with the rest of the team. And I'm a big fan of Tom Brady, and a lot of different quarterbacks, but people handle that differently. And the way Drew handled that from a leadership standpoint was always impressive with me. In fact, when he would win a game and he would set a record, often he would be more upset because, why didn't I go 30 for 30? I went 28 for 30 in my passing. So he always was hard on himself, but he also knew what he said mattered to the team too.
And I have a little unique perspective. I was in Jackson, Mississippi when Hurricane Katrina hit.
Okay.
And then they had to relocate the Saints to
Right.
Mississippi
Right.
for spring training or
Training camp.
Training
yeah.
camp.
I was there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So our paths absolutely crossed, because
Absolutely.
you were at Jackson State University was
Yes.
where they were at.
Yeah.
But Drew and Sean Payton showed up at the same time in New
Right.
Orleans, right
Right.
after Hurricane Katrina. And
Right.
I got to meet both of them
Oh, you did?
when they were coming to say, hey, we're coming to Jackson
Okay.
for training camp.
Right.
And so we did a lot of things with them.
Oh, okay.
And so he was the coolest, most humble person. So I have always been a fan
Right.
of him. I haven't seen him since. Oh, I did actually. After they
did?
won the Super Bowl, I went to the parade.
I was there too.
Were you?
Yes, I was.
I was at the Marriott, and I was kind of tucked aback because it was crazy crowded.
Yeah.
He was the last float.
Right.
He looked at me and threw a whole handful of beads,
Really?
and I caught him.
You still have them?
No.
No. Okay.
I
Good
don't.
story though.
But it's a good story.
It is a good story.
It's a really good story.
Yeah.
So, wow, we were in the same place at the
Yeah.
same time, and our paths didn't cross until here in Wesley Chapel.
This is absolutely, and this is a great perspective from that parade. We always see when teams win, there's a lot of crime and what have you. When that parade went through New Orleans, there wasn't any crime. There weren't hardly any. I don't think there were any arrests. You know why? Because people were happy.
Yes.
And in a city like New Orleans, where they've toned down the crime somewhat, it's kind of a lesson in society. Everybody kind of came together that day, and we were doing coverage, and the kickers had, it's typical New Orleans, just real creative floats, and they had a high heel on the float for the kickers. and I was doing the coverage. I jumped on the float and had a wireless mic, and we went like a block until my signal went out. And just looking at the fans, I kind of had a player perspective just for a block, and it was phenomenal.
And amazing.
It was great. Yeah.
So how did you get into sportscasting?
I always wanted to do it. I knew very early on I wouldn't be a pro athlete, like a lot of people out there,
But there's
men or
all
women.
business and careers that can happen in the pro athlete space.
Absolutely. And I teach now. We can talk about that later. But when I was probably fourth grade, I knew I wanted to be a sportscaster. And then that kind of morphed into, I mean, anybody that went to high school with me knew it. And then I interned really early after high school, and that just strengthened my desire to do it. And I think that's why I tell young people all the time, intern, to figure out, A, what you don't like and remove that, and then B, see what you do like. This is the time to figure it out. And I just, I kept going, and I was offered a job right out of school, and I didn't get it because they brought media consultants in and said I looked too young. And so I hit the road. This was my dad's advice. I hit the road. I dubbed off. We didn't have internet back then. I'm old. And, we just FedEx stuff. I just dubbed off a bunch of tapes, drove around the country, stayed with friends. I had interned for the St. Louis Cardinals. They put me up. And that's how I got my first job in Tuscaloosa. And then it went from there. Yeah.
That's a great story because I had no idea what I was doing with my life until I
Most people don't.
fell into the chamber world. And I was like, oh, okay. But to have that dream and that desire, and you've been on that path, and that has set you up for what you've done and what you continue to do, which is giving back. Teaching is absolutely giving back and sharing all of these fun stories with the next generation of not only perseverance, but getting over hurdles.
Absolutely. I mean, when we sat down today, and you and I are kindred spirits, I feel like in a lot of ways we can talk about the New Orleans stories. But when you said to me, we're just going to talk today, that's what I do when I teach. I bring in guest speakers all the time, and they say, do I have to have a PowerPoint ready? Do I have to have this ready? And I'll leave it up to them if you want to, but I would rather just talk to you and do a Q&A and then have my students ask questions, because I think that's, you learn more about people that way, too.
You learn more with questions.
Yes.
I tell people that all the time. And I don't ever have a script. Sometimes it's not a good idea, and some weird things come out of my mouth. But I do prefer to have just a casual conversation. And you get to talk to people, and storytelling is what you do in your books. And just coming out with it. And they're not lectures. They're inspirational. They're all of the mistakes we've all made.
Yes.
I rather share, and I share that with my daughter and my nephew. I say, listen, learn from my mistakes, so you don't have to make them.
Right, absolutely. I have two daughters, and one's in college, one just graduated. This book has been good because it's created conversations that I haven't had, and I'm really close to them. We've talked about everything, like I know you are with your children too. So, but it's just, to me, it's listening too. You can interview someone, and I tell my students this all the time. I teach a lot of different sports classes, but when you interview someone, you may have a game plan going in, but that could change by what they say. And you listen to them, and then you learn more about them. And I think that's what I've enjoyed about reporting for many years.
So what are you teaching?
I've taught 6 different courses.
Okay.
And I never in my life thought I would teach. I never in my life thought I would write a book. I never thought I'd start a company. This is why I like speaking, because I think we all have skills, frankly, that we take for granted. When I speak to your group, I'm going to have them write down skills maybe that they've taken for granted, just real quick, because I think we all have them, but we don't think about them a lot. I thought I'd be a sportscaster forever. I will be in one part of my life, but the pivot to teaching and writing and speaking and being a CEO, I think that's what makes life exciting. I think everybody should enjoy their career. We're not going to enjoy it every day. I'm not living in La La Land. We're going to have bosses and coworkers that irritate us. We're going to have days where we can't wait to get home. But I've enjoyed my career even more so after sportscasting because of the pivots that I've made, frankly.
And where do you teach?
I teach at Florida Southern College in Lakeland, and I teach in the sport management department, so I teach in the business school. I thought I would teach in communications. At the age of 50, I went back to school so I could teach to get my master's degree. And that was an experience in itself.
Yeah, I did that too.
Did-
Went back to school.
It's
and
tough, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought it was going to be easier.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I've got all this worldly experience,
Yes.
and it's going to be a breeze, and no.
So how old were you when you went back?
48.
Okay, so we're in the same boat
Yeah.
then. I took these night classes, and sometimes because I was working, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I don't know if that went through your
Oh,
mind
yeah.
at all.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
had, how did I get here?
Yes.
Moments.
Right.
And
But the more momentum you get, and the closer you can see the finish line, it's more rewarding, I think, too.
yeah,
Right?
I didn't finish.
Yeah.
The finish line, I never saw
It's
that.
always there, though.
It's always there.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that life just kind of got in the way,
I
and it
understand
was
that, yeah.
really, really difficult. And
Absolutely.
so I just kind of took it as a message of, let me pump the brakes on this, and,
That's fine,
and I'll
too.
go back to graduate school when the time is right, and I'll know when the time is right.
Absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can always go back to, but you created so much more since then that sometimes that wasn't your path. It
Right.
worked for me, it didn't work for you,
Right.
and that's fine. That's fine.
And in our paths, it's just listening. It's not just listening to people. It's
Right.
listening to the universe and the things that are
Absolutely.
put in your path.
Yes.
And says, okay, now is not the time. Even though
Right.
I'm pushing really hard for it,
Right. Right.
now's not the time.
No,
And
no.
when it is, it will be.
Right,
And
right.
those are lessons I think you learn along the way. When
Yeah.
you're young and you're starting off in your career,
Right.
you're pushing.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
really pushing. And you kind of have to, but then
Yeah.
you learn later on, oh, I can stop pushing now.
Right.
I kind of let things just,
Right. You work
fall into
smarter, I
place.
think,
Yes.
because you're working, you're grinding, and you're just trying to figure it out. I've never liked that saying, fake it till you make it type thing, because I understand that's part of it. But I think a better way to look at it is it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to say, I don't know. I tell my students that all the time. I think employers actually appreciate that. You need to take initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can't always lean on people, but I think it's okay because people like those who want to learn and want to get
yes,
better too.
yeah. And
So-
it's okay to say, I literally have no idea what I'm doing
Absolutely.
right now. And together, we're going to make I
Right.
How do you think this podcast happened?
Right.
Like, I'm not a podcaster. I had no idea.
I can't tell.
I can't tell.
No.
Apparently, I know how to talk to people.
You do.
And I was the person that had to sit in the front of the class because I would talk to everybody. I would know everybody's business in school. And I would get in trouble, talks too much. And now I
too.
want to send the
too.
note to all my teachers and say, look, I get paid to talk.
Right. But you know what? I think back then, even if I have students like that, I appreciate a part of that. You got to harness it a little bit.
Channel it.
Yeah, yeah. But I like the enthusiasm if they want to participate and they want to be there. It's better than those who don't show up and make excuses a lot too.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have you in the front row talking than somebody not there.
So let's talk about talking. So you're going to be our guest speaker
Excited
at
about
our
it.
March breakfast.
Yes.
I think it's March 3rd. Sarah will
Yes.
correct me on the
Yeah,
podcast
yeah.
if I got it wrong.
Yes.
But you guys are going to want to register for that because Mike is going to share not only his new book,
Yes.
and Don't Quit, Pivot.
Yes.
And we all had to have that conversation in our head a few years ago.
Absolutely, yes.
And you're going to be just sharing with us writing a book. How crazy is that? Because,
It's hard.
yeah.
It's like we talked about when you start any endeavor here. You start a podcast, and you've had so many initiatives here. You start grad school, anything that you start, and mentally you're thinking, I can't do this. Maybe I don't want to do it. Maybe I don't have it in me to do it. But what's liberating is whatever we're talking about, whether you're growing the chamber, whether I'm writing a book, whether I'm going back to school, I'm telling you, when you see progress, that's when you get the confidence that I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I can see that finish line, whatever it is, and I'm going to get there. And it's liberating.
So this is your second book.
It is, yes.
The first one was Breezeway.
The Breezeway, yes.
The Breezeway.
Yes.
And so walk me through kind of how you start a book. You kind of do an outline like you do in
Yeah.
school and, write your first essay and then go back in and fill it all in.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it's just one way to do it because I've had a lot of book signings, met a lot of authors, more here locally writing Don't Quit Pivot. But I think everybody kind of has to have their own way. I like having an outline where I know the chapters in advance, and it's, I can kind of fill the blanks. Okay, I have an idea of what I want to do. The problem with the book often, and this is where you get to the good problem, is you keep adding to it. You keep adding and adding, and you can add forever. There has to be a point where you're done.
Right.
This is
You've
it.
made your point.
This is it.
Stop it.
Yeah. Since I wrote this book, I have seen different. There you go. Thank you very much.
Don't.
I have to explain the cover to you too. I think you like the explanation here. But I will say this: I've read and heard, and I could have added so much to it since then. But I think every author feels that way. But I think you have to have a general outline. And there's so many books. Everybody has a purpose for writing a book. Find your purpose, whatever it is, because if you have something that's heartfelt, everybody likes, to write about something they're interested in. No offense to organic chemists out there, but if I had to write about organic chemistry, I wouldn't be into it. So you have to have something that you're interested in, I think, if you like to write, and then you go from there.
I don't even think I could write a foreword for organic chemistry. Sorry, friends.
Yeah.
If you want me to do that, no.
Right.
But your foreword was written by somebody really cool.
Yeah. And you talk about errands. Dick Vitale, the Hall of Fame broadcaster, he's the ultimate pivoter. I mean, he was a coach for many years and then was fired in the NBA and thought, what am I going to do? And then Dick Vitale made the pivot to announcing and has become legendary with that. I mean, I think he told me his goal is to call a game on ESPN when he is 100 years old, and he's approaching 90. And I wouldn't put it past him. Dick Vitale, and I'll talk about that at the chamber function coming up. But Dick Vitale was the one that saved errands. He's the one that did it first, and because of that pilot episode that I didn't make any money from, I lost money. I actually paid a crew, but I believed in the idea. The New Orleans Saints saw the pilot with Dick Vitale, and for the first time in my life, I felt like an athlete because they said, we're going to give you a prove-it deal. 6 episodes, and if we like it, we'll give you an extension. So we did 6. They loved it. We ended up doing almost 30. So Dick Vitale is the godfather of errands. He really is.
Well, and that's somebody who took a chance on you and the idea, but also saw something. So that's kind of as a professor and as a coach, if you will, is you see something in somebody, you take a chance on them,
right,
and help them and be there for them. And he's a really cool dude. I hope that I get to watch him.
I know.
At 100 years old, call a broadcast.
And he's battled a lot in terms of cancer the last really 3 or 4 years. Thought he was going to lose his voice, but he's calling games this year, and he's in his late 80s. I mean, he's a role model for so many people. And I have to say this about Dick Vitale. He is the real deal. You mentioned your encounter with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. That's what makes you feel good when you really like someone and you meet them. And they're the real deal.
They're exactly
authentic.
The same as what you had.
You hope so.
Right. I've met people along the way, and I'm like, oh, you're not as nice as I thought you would be.
Yes.
But you know who's one of my favorite?
Who?
Is Archie Manning.
I ran errands with Archie. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. So back in the day, he was part of, I don't know if you remember DirecTV.
Absolutely.
We're about the same age. So DirecTV. So Archie was with the DirecTV folks. They were doing something in Jackson, and I was there for with the chamber, and somehow ended up standing next to Archie for like 20 minutes. And he was talking about his grandkids and about all of this stuff, and I was like, you are phenomenal.
It's the real deal.
And then I asked him if I could meet his son, and he goes, sweetie, he's getting married. I was like, which one? I don't care.
Yes, it's so great that you brought that up, and this is why I like having podcasts like this. Is I never knew. I never thought we'd talk about Archie Manning.
Archie Manning.
But there's some people, and I feel like, we've both met a lot of people. We've all met people that we're really appreciate the fact that they are who they are. But then you have disappointments. But Archie Manning, when you meet him, has absolutely no ego.
None.
Just you wouldn't know what he has done or what he's doing or any of that.
I mean, DirecTV, he didn't walk in with an entourage. He was in the back of the room standing with me. I'm the staff, and just having a good old conversation.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah.
So I mean, it's great. So don't quit. Pivot.
Yes.
You said you want to talk about the cover.
Yeah.
I know we don't want to talk too much about the book, only because you're coming to speak.
Okay. Maybe we'll tease the cover then.
Tease the cover.
We'll tease the cover.
Tell me.
Okay, the cover is like a traffic light. Okay? And this is your life. This is a good way for us to kind of, we've given examples of that in this podcast. a lot of times, whether it's going back to school, whether it's growing your business like you have, whether it's me creating errands, whatever you do, and you're scared about it and you have doubts about it, I approach it like a traffic light. At first, you have caution, okay? You proceed, it's red, and you don't want to move forward. And then you have yellow where, are you going to get past that point? And then you get that green light and you're going to go for it or not. That's what this cover is. It's like a traffic light. It's the mindset of pivoting. I don't know if I can do it. I'm stuck. I'm stopped. I'm going to proceed with caution, and then green, I'm going to go for it.
Go. Punch the gas.
Exactly, yes.
So
right.
I think there's so many analogies in traffic.
Yes.
I was sharing this the other day with somebody, and they're like, where did you come up with that? And I was like, I don't know exactly where I came up with it. What it was about staying in your lane.
Oh, I like that.
And about that you can go really, really fast.
Yes.
And I want you to go fast, but let
Yes.
me protect you on this other side to keep the cops from coming to get you.
Right.
We were talking about an employee who was, going a little bit too fast
Yes.
and things like that. But I just bust out with this analogy. And then the other day I was driving and I passed somebody in the right-hand lane. I go, one of us is in the wrong lane.
Right.
So I'm like, wait, if you're getting passed on the right side of the road,
Right.
one of us is in the wrong lane.
Yes.
Who is it? Is it me? Is it you? So there's lots of
Lots of scenarios
Lots
there.
of scenarios. And this
Yes.
is a great thought. And I wouldn't have realized that that's what it was. I saw the colors and I was like, all right, we've got red, yellow, green, go.
Right. It's not just throwing different colors out there. I think you're exactly right. I love traffic analogies. Any example, I think that just makes speaking better because you know what? We all get frustrated in traffic, right?
Yeah.
I have to drive to Lakeland 2-3 days a week. It just depends on my semester. And
That means I-4?
yeah.
Or do you take the back roads?
Well, you know what? I will say this. I used to take the back roads. I-4's gotten a little better to Lakeland.
Okay.
75 is the problem. 75's, if you get through 75, that's fine. But I always give this analogy. I love your analogy because that makes a lot of sense if you're listening. We've all been there. But there's all kinds of obstacles every day driving to work. If it's me driving to Lakeland or you in your 10-minute commute or 20, 30, whatever it is. But think about if you go the same way to work all the time. You're going to have one day where you just get every red light. What the heck's going on? Or you get a lot of green lights. Or you get stuck behind this tow truck. Or you have this person in the left-hand lane that's going 20 miles an hour. That's life.
Yep.
Because every day is a little bit different. Sometimes we have a day where it's all green lights, metaphorically. Or it's a lot of red lights. Or we get stuck in the middle of the day when we had everything planned out, and it throws the day sideways too. So I love traffic analogies. Yeah.
There's so many.
So many.
So
Yes.
many. And
Yeah.
I remember back in the Jackson days, I would drive to work, and one of our very young, she had just got out of college, she was starting at the chamber, and she passed me one day. And I was like, girl, you ain't passing me. No, this is my road. This is my... But then I had the analogy of, she's a go-getter.
Yeah, yeah.
And she wanted to get to work.
Okay.
And she passed me in life. But I saw that, and I
Right.
saw that analogy, and I was like, interesting.
Right.
So I've always had traffic analogies.
You accentuated the positive there. I like that. That was good.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. Well, Mike, I try to keep these short, and I think
Okay.
we could talk forever.
We could. Absolutely.
Because I think you're a really cool dude, and the fact that you live in our community is even better. And that has been 4 years since
Crazy.
we saw each other last.
Too
I know.
long, yes.
I follow you on social, so I know where you've been and raising your daughters and doing all the cool stuff. I can't wait to see you. And
Can't wait either. Yeah.
March 3rd, our chamber breakfast, you will have presentation about your book, talk more in depth about your book and the skills that you're teaching others, and that we all can learn in business. It's not just about sportscasting. And that's another cool thing that I've noticed having these conversations with people is it goes across all industries. It goes across all sectors of your life, whether that's your home life, your work life, your friend life. Don't quit on your friends. Pivot, just...
Right. And what I love about your group is a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different occupations, and different ages too. Mm-hmm. And that goes in line with my book. So we'll come up with the chamber discount.
Perfect.
And we'll talk about you're not too young, you're not too old to make a move. I talk to college students about it all the time. I'm old. I'm almost 60 years old. I'll be 60 in less than 3 years. And 50 was an alarm clock for me, and that's how I want to start. 50 changed a lot for me, and I know a lot of people, you know what? You don't even have to hate, you don't have to hate your job, even lack passion. You could actually really like your job, but still want to pivot and make changes in your life. It doesn't have to be people who have unrest at the workplace. So we'll talk about that too.
Yeah, I love that because I've got some of that just in my career and my background and how we've had to pivot as an organization But I love what I do. And so let's keep it moving.
Right.
So
you've always loved. Yeah, since I've known you, the passion you have is really impressive.
Yeah, it's easy when you love it. You know,
it is.
It's
you look forward to going to work.
Right. No, some days.
Not. But see that we talked about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that rainbows and sunshine all the time, but for the most part you do, and that changes your quality of life too.
It does, and then it changes the quality of life and the people around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can share that, as a leader. So I can't wait to have you back, and thank you for making time to come in on the podcast today and have this chat, and maybe start up your errands. I reboot that.
I've had many people tell me that I need to. I've been busy doing other things, but I think we're far enough removed from COVID. I can reach out to some people again.
And we have so many athletes and celebrities that live here in Tampa Bay. I guarantee you, I'll find you a car. I know you had a Jaguar.
I'm gonna save that story because we got to tease stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I have a great story about Dick Vitale and the car and how I reached out to every dealership in Sarasota. I didn't care. Just give me a sponsor. And we had one person get back to me, and that ended up being the high-end car that we use for the Saints, too. So it's funny how life works out.
You know, it would be cute. Use their car.
That'd be easier.
That'd be a lot easier.
It would be, yes.
Right?
It would
Just
be.
get in their car and use their car literally while they're running errands.
Right.
Like go with the Publix.
I like that.
Go.
You got to help me with this.
Listen, I have all kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
But I just want to know, like, Baker Mayfield, like what kind of pub sub is he going to order in Publix?
I love that. I think he would like that too.
Right?
I think he would. Okay. Absolutely, yeah.
Baker, we've dropped a lot of names here today.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
I'm a huge Baker Mayfield fan, by the way.
Right?
His whole story is just unbelievable.
He's so good for Tampa.
And seems like a guy you could hang out with. And I have met enough people. I talked to somebody with the Tampa Bay Lightning who I used to work for, real close with that organization, and they told me for the Stadium Series, when they did this set of ads with Victor Hedman and Baker Mayfield, that Baker was great, and the team and the Lightning players loved him, and all that stuff. So,
okay, I have never been more proud of our city than that.
Did you go to that?
I did not go.
I didn't either.
I watched it on TV. I couldn't afford those tickets unless I was in a suite. I wasn't going out there because it turned out to be freezing cold.
Yeah.
But I have never been more impressed. The Super Bowl, yes, but this was something just special.
It was perfect.
Perfect. Seeing Baker in a Lightning, and then all of the Lightning players coming out in the creamsicle.
I know. How about Cooper's, John Cooper's outfit? What do you think of that?
I adore him. Sure, his wife won't appreciate that, but I literally screamed when I saw him with that. And
that was gutsy. Now, think about it. If they lose that game, I think he gets a little more criticism for it. But what I like about him, and I don't know him well, I used to work with John Tortorella way back in the day. John Tortorella would never wear that. But that's what makes coaching great, is that they're all different personalities. But here's the thing. I think he had the confidence, win or lose, to do it, obviously. So I appreciate that.
It's his home. This is his city.
Yes.
It was an homage to their Cuban heritage, the necklaces, and all of it. I literally screamed when I saw that. I just couldn't believe it. But all of that was so well done and such a reflection on our Tampa Bay region.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that I've been watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I want to host the Olympics. I think Tampa can host the Summer Olympics.
And you're going to pivot.
I am going to pivot.
Gonna happen. Yes.
And I might be 100 years old when it happens.
And you and Dick Vitale.
Like me and Dick Vitale.
We're going to bring it all full circle here.
Look at this. I have a vision that Tampa Bay can host the Summer Olympics.
Why not?
Infrastructure is our only problem, and we're getting on that right away.
But it's improved so much in the last 5 years.
We just need some public transit.
Yes.
We need 15,000 homes for our athletes. I've looked into this.
Let's get a new baseball stadium.
Exactly.
And then the Olympics.
And then the Olympics.
Yes.
But the 15,000 homes for the athletes could be turned into affordable workforce housing after they're gone.
So you've thought about this?
I have.
I love it.
This is my platform to pitch it. I know that Santiago at Visit Tampa Bay is going to hate me.
Well, you know what? It's your idea, and that's my bucket list. That's the one thing I've never covered in sports is the Olympics. And let's just bring it here.
Right?
Let's just bring it right here.
Okay, so you and I do this.
Let's do it.
You're going to broadcast there because
Yes.
it's your bucket list, and I just want Tampa on the worldwide stage.
I'm a former swimmer. Can I do swimming?
You can.
Okay, perfect.
I'm
We'll
just
get
not
Brooke
sure
Bennett. She lives
where
here.
we're doing that part because that's
We'll
kind
figure
of
that out,
we don't
though.
have an aquatic center, so we got to work on that. We have plenty of years.
But we have land to build that, so we're fine.
Correct.
I love this, man.
Right?
This is what's great about the Q&A. We didn't write anything down, but we have great ideas now, don't we?
We do, and we're gonna make this happen. Just imagine if my podcast included alcohol.
Yeah. I think, you know what? I would be for that, actually.
Right, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I have all sorts of ideas of what to do with my podcast, but
If that happens, you got to bring me back.
I
then.
will.
Okay.
I most certainly
All right.
will.
Yeah.
This is chamber chatter, so we have to keep it, strictly business. But this has been so much fun.
Happy hour. Hope's happy hour.
Hope's happy hour. Look,
See?
oh
There
my
you go.
God, maybe we got some marketing stuff we got going on here.
See? That's what we do here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, my friend, for being here. And we'll see you at our March breakfast.
Anytime.
And we'll see you soon.
I had fun.